Hello, my loves. My name is Daphne, and today I would like to talk about relationships because this is the latest evolution in the lesson that I have learnt in terms of karmic relationships and typically the buzz around the spiritual community of being in a karmic relationship. And I've just had my own personal experience that completely changed the way I thought about everything, and I want to share it with you guys because hopefully it helps someone out there who also is struggling with relationships. I know for me, when I was not sure where my partner fit into my life, I was like researching, I was watching all the YouTubes, like signs you're in a karmic relationship, signs you're a soulmate. I'm like, no, we're not soulmates, signs twin flame. And then I was like, oh my gosh, like what do I do if we're a karmic relationship? We're not meant to be with each other. And so today I want to talk about that because I think that so many people don't connect with their truth, the truth of relationships, that they get lost amidst the terminology, amidst what society and spirituality, the spiritual society, deems as right and wrong, putting things into little boxes and not actually listening to their truth. And I think that distorts a lot of people's perceptions. Before I begin, I would love to start by defining the different kinds of relationships because obviously there's plenty of different kinds. And just so you can understand like what the types are, what the signs are of the different types, so that you can more easily identify which ones resonate with you. So for instance, we have soulmate relationship, we have twin flame relationship, which I'm sure you've heard of. We have soul contract relationship, and we have karmic relationships, and then we have relationships that don't fall into any of these buckets. So they're just a person passing by in your life. It could be a sexual connection, it could be a friendship connection, it could be any connection that they don't actually like. It's not a connection at soul level, more of an interaction at human level. So soulmate loves are the most beautiful union of two people. And I think the sign that you've got a soulmate relationship is when things are just easy breezy. For me, please note that everything I'm about to tell you is my interpretation and my experience and what I've witnessed of different kinds of relationships. And if your truth is different, that is so totally okay. So just know that, like, there is not any one truth, I don't believe, in the universe, really. It's all perspectives. So I think a soulmate relationship is, two energies that just like flow together, right? It's like you guys both just like want to keep each other growing, and there's not that clash. It's not like a super intense lessons relationship where you like, I think all relationships show you your shadows, but this one, it's more like your energy is so harmonious that it's just expansive and beautiful in the best way, and probably really easygoing. So for instance, I have witnessed a true soulmate connection. Granted, I don't know what the start of their relationship was like, and I don't know if there was turmoil or what that was like, but seeing the outcome of this, it's like the purest love for one another, and they were just there to support each other in every single facet of their life. And they were so connected and not codependent. It was just like this partnership, this divine union at soul level. And they were two humans just growing together and wanted to facilitate each other's highest potential. So for me, that's what a soulmate relationship looks like. And granted, I have seen other soulmates that I think are soulmates, and they've really had to work at things to get to like a mutual respecting and expensive level. So I think it's part of the journey. Number 2 is twin flame. So I'm sure you've heard about twin flame relationships. What I've gathered about them is that number 1, they're extremely rare. Number 2, they're going to show you all of the different sides of yourself, because ultimately at soul level, they are the half of your spirit, I suppose, or the equal energetic imprint of your spirit. So let's just say your soul fragments, which it is always fragmenting, but the energetic half of your soul, like you've got feminine and masculine polarities, right? So I'm feminine, for instance, in this incarnation right now, and my twin flame would be the masculine representation of my energy. And what I've also heard of this, and I think it makes total sense, is that it's much easier actually if your twin flame is not incarnated with you, because they get to be one of your best spirit guides, because they see you for who you are. They care about your personal development so much. They love you so much, and they can support you from the spirit realm. Versus a human incarnation of twin flames, that's going to be a bit challenging, because man, there is different perspectives at soul level. At soul, it's just love and healing, and like I can't even explain how much more expansive a soul level perspective is versus you come down into 3D, and it is dense. It's literally like trying to perceive depth in a drawing, right? There's only so much depth that you can perceive when it's flat on paper versus actually being and seeing a mountain and being like, wow, and then climbing the mountain. Totally different perspectives of that mountain versus seeing it on paper. And that is honestly what I believe the human perspective is like. And so you're like two souls in a twin flame union that probably mirror each other's weaknesses and strengths, and shadow aspects are going to be reflected right back at each other, and you're not going to see it from the soul level perspective. You're going to be like, you're triggering me so much, and they're like, you're triggering me so much. This is so hard. Oh my god, I can't do it. Relationships aren't meant to be this hard. Like, I love you so much, you're the one for me, but this is so hard. And yeah, that is my interpretation of a twin flame relationship. Apparently they're very rare. I think a lot of people confuse karmic relationships for twin flames, and even soulmates for twin flames, because man, soulmates are easy breezy. And if you're in a soulmate relationship, kudos to you, my friend. Like, you're probably like, that's a very fun incarnation, very easy breezy. And I don't think it's the be all and end all if you're not with your twin flame, honestly, because having them as a spirit guide, like if you know they exist one way or another, it doesn't matter if you're with them, because they're going to be somewhere at soul level, and you're going to see them very, very, very soon in the scheme of life, truly. And then there's soul contract. And so soul contract is, if you imagine at soul level, you need to learn lessons in your life, right? So say someone needs to learn courage or strength or like resilience. They might sign up with a person to teach them a lesson in this way with a partnership, and get them to imbue that energy onto them, right? So you might be with a partner, and it's like, for me, my soul contract relationship was beautiful. He was the most easygoing, beautiful relationship. It felt like a soulmate, but I just knew we weren't the one for each other, in the sense that it was so easy. There just wasn't the growth there. And at the end of it, I just knew it just had to end. And that is how soul contracts go. Because if you've got an energetic contract, because that's how the contracts are bound with our energy, right? You've got a contract upstairs with someone, energetic, and then the contract is fulfilled. There's not that energy connection between you both anymore. So the relationship is probably just going to fizzle away, and that's okay. That's okay. It's exactly what it needs to be. And then there's karmic relationships, which is why we're here. So karmic relationships are relationships that are built on a karmic release, pretty much. So if you imagine, right now we're in the age of karmic release. There are periods where you accumulate karma in your soul journey, and there are periods where you release karma in your soul journey. And this phase of earth, this rate of happening, the amount of experiences that we are having in our human life is all here to release karma and serve as our highest evolution. So it also, just given the phase of life that we are in, it's in a major karmic loop, cycle of releasing. So majority of relationships on planet Earth are karmic. And I think some signs that I have seen of karmic relationships, and even with myself, it's an intense bond at the start, and you're like so drawn to each other. It's like you get married in 3 months. You're like, they're the one for me. The sex is amazing. We have like similar interests. We just get along really well. And then something clicks. And then it's like the fluffy rainbows just stop shining so much. And there's lessons in there, and it's so painful. It's hard as especially because you thought that they were such the one for you. But typically the karmic relationships are relationships connected solar plexus, sacral chakra, which is sexuality, solar plexus is money, or the root chakra, which is survival. And they come here to teach you lessons in the soul so that you can stop repeating the patterns that you have been repeating for lifetimes, probably with this person as well. Like, the amount of lifetimes that we've lived, the amount of relationships that we've had, I think it's fair to say that we're probably going to cross people's paths again along our journey. But what I wanted to talk about today was actually the concept of karmic relationships, because for me, I feel like there's this really negative connotation around karmic relationships in the spiritual community, to the point where I thought my past relationship was karmic and I put him in a little box and I was like, oh my God, this is karmic and you can't be the one for me, and we just have to learn our lessons and say bye-bye. And I think I've done this so many times in my spiritual journey where it's like, spirituality is this, and if you fit in this is the way it is. And karmic relationships have such a negative connotation, but I want to distill that, because honestly, I think when it's so easy when you're looking to all these gurus, I mean that with respect because they know a lot of stuff, but like when you're looking to people who are the speakers in the field and they talk about these things, I remember watching a video by one woman and she said, you do not want to stay in these relationships too long. And I was like, oh wow, this is us. And so it just poisons your mind a little bit when you see these people and you see their truth and you don't connect to your truth. You don't connect because no two relationships are the same. Love is not the same between any two people as it is for anyone else, because our imprint is so unique, right? There can be patterns in the types of relationships, but ultimately the two purposes that these souls serve for each other's energy and expansion is going to be unlike anything else in the world with any other soul. And you cannot put that into a box. And the reason I have realized this, I would like to talk about it. And I did not, when I decided to make this video, I didn't have the intention to share this, but I think it has such a perspective shift on this topic for me. It is ultimately what inspired me to make this video, because I saw truths that I hadn't seen about my relationship and it changed the game for me. It changed the game. So this weekend, I did my first ever plant medicine ceremony with ayahuasca. And it was such an honor. She was the bringer of truth. It is not something to be taken lightly, my friends. Like, my goodness, there is nothing that could have prepared me for that experience. Nothing. And I like to think that I am quite strong, but like, holy, consumes you. It's the bringer of truth, and the truth is painful sometimes. The truth is so painful. And for me, it was the truth that I needed to see. She was the bringer of truth, and she demanded respect and honor. Because also for yourself, truth is enlightenment, but it is respect and honor for yourself as well. And I saw there's like journeys, there's levels to the experience. And the first most intense level, right, the entire trip pretty much, was all about my relationship. And I suddenly saw all of his perspectives on everything that I had been entirely missing the point of in my 3D human experience. And that is how I can talk about the soul level perspective and the human perspective, because I saw love at the soul level perspective. And that was like nothing I have seen for him yet until this experience. And I know that's really sad, and I know it's sad that it took that for me to see that, but it did, and it shifted everything for me, because this was the man that I thought I was in a karmic relationship with, and that was bad. The reasons that I say that I thought it was karma is because we mirrored each other's shadow aspects. Like, his wounds were the trauma that I've caused, and like our traumas aligned, perfect inverse in so many ways. His shadow, I reflect his shadow back to him, he reflects my shadow back to me. Like, both have the same values, but it's expressed in different ways, and it was incredibly triggering. I'm like, this is not a soulmate relationship. This is hard as, but this truth that I saw just changed everything. And I realized how wrong I had been and how indoctrinated I had been about the different types of relationships. And I do not think you can put relationships into a box. I think that people deep down need to connect with their truth as to if a relationship is right for them or not right for them. And you will know the ways. I think that every great relationship has trials and tribulations that they need to grow through. And that relationships take effort, they take time, they take empathy, they take compassion, they take love, they take understanding and perspectives of one another. But you know that if a person's not meant for you, because in your truth of truth, you know how you want to be treated, right? You know what your soul needs to be respected. You know if you're respecting yourself, and you might not know in the human level, but it just takes a reflection inward to connect with yourself. Say you're in an abusive relationship, like that one's quite obvious, but people keep repeating the patterns and they know that it's not right for them. It's just so hard to leave, but that is the karma that their soul signed up for to release. And so that is also the essence of karmic relationships. Is I think there's one bucket of karmic relationships where you guys can both do the work together. It's probably not an abuser or victim relationship, because the karma for the victim is very clear to just leave and stand up for themselves. It's probably like other patterns where you grow and they grow and you grow and they grow and you blossom into something very powerful union, because ultimately I think relationships are here to teach us about ourselves, because they are the bringer of teachings. They are the mirror that we do not see by ourselves. Like I did my healing journey with a mentor very intensely, and it was nothing compared to my relationship. Like I thought it was all healed, which is just so not true. You don't get to a place of healed. But then when I got with my partner, I was like, wow, I haven't seen this side of me in a while, and it's really nice. So partners are like the ultimate expansion for our soul journey. So karmic partners can be one of the most powerful teachers for that, as long as you keep learning your lessons and as long as you both want to keep growing. And then you have the other side of the karmic bucket, which is, for example, the abuser victim relationship, empath narcissist relationship, where the soul lesson for that person is to just see themselves, see their worth, see their value, where they've been giving their power away to another person. That is how they learn. And that is what they need to do to break that karmic pattern. So the way to evolve in karmic relationships and the way to evolve out of karma is to do the thing that you wouldn't typically do. Okay, so, and that's very easy to see, but sometimes not from your own perspective, because you don't see the loops you're caught in. But you will see them when the time is right. When you see something is like, I keep doing this. That's a karmic pattern that you're being called to internally contemplate. Where does this exist within me? Why am I letting this happen? Why am I fostering? Like, what part of me is mirroring this and needs healing and needs integration and needs witnessing and love, so that I can give that to myself, so that I don't have to have a partner try and teach me these lessons about self-love, about self-worth, about respecting others. And I just wanted to say all of this because I know a lot of people on their spiritual journey. I know myself, when you're unsure, you just look outside of you. You think other people have the answers, but they don't. They really don't. And I know that people can get really scared. They get really scared and fearful and contemplating their life like, oh, this is right, this is wrong. Oh my goodness, like this is spiritual, this is not spiritual. I need to do this because it's spiritual, and I can't be associated with this because it's not spiritual, and I'm spiritual. It's like, that's not how it works, sis. Like, you need to connect with your truth. I've seen the fear in so many young people's eyes of like, it gets me really down when people say this because it just makes me sad, and I don't want to feel bad about my life. And I don't want to feel bad about my decisions. It's like, well, don't feel bad about your decisions. Know your truth. Know why you're doing that. And honestly, if things don't threaten you, like they're threatening you because there's an aspect of you that needs to come into alignment with your truth on that subject. And knowledge is power, and you can take that knowledge and create your own wisdom from it. Now, I want to tell you a practice to help you connect and test what sort of relationship that you have, because I know that it can be really hard to know the truth of your relationship. And these practices are what helped me gain insights of my truth. Take them or leave them. Tap into what feels good for you, as always. Okay, so practice number 1, and I actually got this from my client / one of the women that I get so much wisdom from, is a energetic test. And this one really works for me. For me, I am clairsentient, which means that I can feel, my body tells me like feelings, right? And I think everyone has these powers. You have one aspect of psychicness at least. It's just about connecting with it. And so I don't know if this exercise is easier for me because I am clairsentient, but I invite you to try it anyways. So what you do, right, this is testing the energetic connection between two people. So what you do for this one is you imagine them standing in front of you and you're hand to hand to hand, right? You want to imagine the force of energy between you two. And you'll feel it in your palms. You'll feel it. And then this is where you get to ask, this is the truth of the universe, right? You get to say, like, show me the truth of this connection. And you just sit and receive for wherever in your body feels it. If it's in your heart and it's in your love and it's expansive, like, that's probably beautiful, right? If it's like, if you feel this force of energy in like your womb space or your groin, like it's probably a very sexual in nature based relationship. But you might get other feelings, like you might get friendship or deep sexual attraction in your tummy. So just trust what comes up. How to interpret this, like if it is chakra based and not feelings based, like those feelings that you have for the butterflies, for instance, or like when you are super attracted to someone, those are the feelings. And then you've got the chakras as well. So if you feel the buzzing like in your root chakra, that means that it's a survival based relationship, probably one you want to evolve out of, to be honest, or maybe you can grow together, up to you. Then it is the sacral chakra, which is a sexual based relationship, and they die out they die out. Sexual based relationships are not an energy form that the connection lasts for years and years. And then you've got your solar plexus as well. So this is a money driven relationship, like there's a very strong dependence there for each other for the money and wealth and status. And then there's heart, which is obviously love. And then all the higher chakras are sort of, you just want relationships like heart and above, but that's not to say that relationships cannot evolve, because maybe you're at one of the lower ones too, like maybe that's where you're at in your journey, and your partner and you are meant to evolve together. So you've got heart, and then throat, obviously that's communication and like truth and purpose, like connection, throat to throat, beautiful, open, understanding. Third eye, and then crown is the spiritual connection as well. And that's very beautiful with one another, and you're probably going to have very lifelong connections with people in the higher chakras. If you didn't evolve from the lower chakras, they're probably not going to last so long. And so what you can do with that after you receive the first one, right? And if you don't feel it so strongly, just really sink into your body. Really sink in, like just breathe, have no expectations, right? And you can test it with a family member or a loved one to see what your body responds to someone you know is a loving relationship, like your best friend. Just say, what's the truth of this relationship, and wait for it to feel in your body. It might be subtle, and that might be like what you indicate as what love is, right? And so you can ask any question you like, really. You really can. And it is just like the energetic, I think you're tapping into the timelines and the energy of this cosmos, because honestly, like space does not exist in the realm of energy. Like energy just is, and space is a dimension to this to help us perceive this time-space reality that is the facilitator of experiences. And then what you can do is add in timelines, right? You can say, show me the truth of this relationship in 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, and you will be amazed at how the energy changed. I've done it for people and I thought they were like my one, and I was so attracted to them, and it was such a force of energy between us until I got to 5 years and then went to nothing. And I was like, oh, we don't make it past 5 years. I'm like, that's nice, obviously not my one. So it is a very telling exercise, and the way that works is because like the timelines exist, right? Obviously timelines can shift, and it's just in this moment in time the most probable connection, like the connection that you guys hold in this moment, you're tapping into the timelines of that. And energies can change, relationships can change, but that is the truth of where you're at right now. And then the second exercise that I did to see the truth of my partner and I was the Dolores Cannon past life regression hypnosis therapy. And for me, one of my questions was to see the truth of my relationship. And what I saw was like that was a form that could connect me with my truth from that perspective, and it was very powerful. I'm so thankful what I saw. I didn't understand at the time, but after this ceremony, it's really just like the pieces are fitting together so beautifully. And then, I mean, last of all, probably the steps you want to take initially would be meditation, deep introspection, and really connecting with yourself, connecting with your truth, and trying to see love, trying to see everything from the perspective of love for yourself and love for your partner for why they are the reason that they are, and also realizing how you are creating your reality. How do you see them, and how is that manifesting back to you? You see them as not responsible, you see them as untrustworthy, you see them as manipulative, blah, 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 blah. How is that truth coming back to you in all the ways that you've created it? I think that's a very powerful way. So I hope this helps. My intention is to help people just chill out with any relationship dramas, because I know that relationships are a major part of our lives. It's caused me so much stress, honestly, especially, but the stress comes from like not knowing what to do. And so I think the truth is to just sit with it. Really just sit with it. You know in your heart of hearts what to do. There's no rush to decide. There's no right or wrong answer. You make the decision based on where you're at now and the lesson that you need now. You know, like whatever you need on your soul journey, you're going to take that route. And that is exactly what you needed at that given time. So just ease up on yourself, because I know for me, I'm incredibly difficult with myself. I'm like, oh, this is right, this is wrong. I need to be the best person that I can be, and there's no room for mistakes, blah, 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 blah. Cutthroat, and it's just not nice. And it causes a lot of anxiety, and it's not coming from a place of love. So I invite you to come from a place of love, and I really, really hope that this has helped provide some clarity and different perspectives on just why karmic relationships are not all doomsday, doom and gloom. Thank you so much if you've made it to the end. I am so grateful for you, one of the OGs. I'm so excited to do this type of content, more of it, and thank you so much. So grateful for you. Blessed be.